Today we're doing staff training or introduction training to the new SafeTstop test system just installed at Big Wheels in Arndell Park. We will demonstrate how to use the machine today, and this is how every machine that we install, we will come to your place specifically and do the introduction exactly as it happens today. So please watch carefully. I'm sure you're going to learn something. If you got any questions, call us anytime. Thank you for your attention. In here we have the main computer. Okay, over here it says switch it on, press the button, she starts up. It's just a normal computer, so if you don't switch it off at night, it's no problem, okay? So 10 o'clock at night and you're at home and you think you forgot to switch off SafeTstop, stay in bed. And in here obviously is the printer. Here on the side is a little receiver. This receiver talks to this pedal force meter. Okay, the pedal force meter is only used for light vehicles, by the way. You don't, only light vehicles. Okay, for light vehicles you need a pedal force, for heavy vehicles you don't. The pedal force meter is only for if you do a four-wheel drive or something like that. Yeah. Okay?
Like retro-wise for a light vehicle.
Retro-wise, only, yeah, that's the only thing, okay? This one here switches the TV on, and it comes up like that, okay? Now, from here on in, everything can be operated just with this, okay? F1 starts the brake test. Click on F1, the brake test is ready. Okay? F2, obviously, as it says, is the drag test. I probably prefer to call it rolling resistance test. So the rolling resistance basically is just by rolling across it and we measure how much drag a wheel creates. Okay, and then the drag could be because you've got brake drag, or you could have a wheel bearing that is on its way out or anything like that, that would create it, or even if the alignment is out a fair bit, that would also create drag. F3, self-explanatory, is the scales. So we might go over here and I explain what the functions of the test track is. On this particular installation, obviously the test direction is on the way out. Yeah, we've made that so we can even have a trailer. You just back it in and do it because of the length. If you would have a drive-through situation, obviously you would test it on the way in. Okay? The yellow bits, that's the weight scales. Clearly they are wrong. The load cells we're using comes from Germany. Okay? They are built specifically for test lanes like that or test machines like that. They are the highest accuracy class that we can get. So these load cells go up in 5 kilo steps all the way up to 8 ton. Okay, so and that's also your maximum drive over is 8 ton per wheel.
Per wheel.
Per wheel. Okay, per wheel. Yeah. So anything 9 ton per axle is allowed on the road. So you're well within. Okay. Fire brigade, for instance, New South Wales and Queensland and even Victoria Fire Brigade, they're using it with their fully loaded fire trucks. They are a little bit overloaded. They're allowed to, obviously, because of various reasons, and so they're using these machines. So this is the weigh bridge. This is where we do the brake and the drag measurement. Okay? Underneath here is a load cell. I want to explain that. So a roller brake tester functions in a way where you have 2 rollers. You drive the wheel in between the 2 rollers. Then you have an electromotor and a chain that turns the roller and it turns the wheel. And then the driver starts to apply the brake pressure slowly, 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 until the wheel achieves enough brake force to throw it out of the roller. And that is actually your end result, okay? Think of this as a flat roller. And then we use the momentum of the vehicle to generate the force. Make sense? So we don't need the electromotors, we don't need the chains and all of that stuff. That's why this is so much more economical to run. Okay? Arguably, it's more accurate because what we're doing here is it's a real dynamic test. That means you roll the axle that you test nice and slowly across here. First thing is we measure the weight of the axle. When the axle is on the brake plate, a big stop sign will come up. That's when you apply the brakes. But compared to a roller tester, here we want to apply the brakes fast and hard. Because we want to see how do the brakes react in an emergency situation, when I really need to use them. Okay? Brakes always work when I approach a red light. That's usually not a problem. Okay? Or park the truck. We want to know what happens in that emergency situation. So I want you to apply the brakes fast and hard. And then we'll see how quickly do the brakes react, how quickly do the valves open, what is actually happening to the braking system. Make sense? So that'll be the biggest difference between the plate and the roller tester. It's a different way of testing, but the end result is if one wheel doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's what we want to find out. Okay? New South Wales standard for brake testing is maximum allowable difference between left and right is 30%. Okay? If you're within 30% passes, over 30% it fails. If you got something with 25% difference, I would look at it. Simple as that. And then you do axle by axle by axle until the whole thing is finished. Yeah? We also measure the deceleration. So the deceleration is weight divided by brake force. That's all done automatically for you in the computer program. It runs on 12 volt, okay? Anything can be driven over here. I tell you, it's 1.6 stainless steel. It's solid, okay? Other than that, there is hardly any maintenance required. Once a year, we lift the plates out, vacuum it out a bit, check things through. We don't use Loctite on installation, so it's probably worthwhile in the next 3 or 4 weeks to go with a spanner and just quickly make sure that they're all still tight. Okay, so if you want to service your own machine, easily done. If you had a flood or water got in here out of whatever reason and actually filled the whole thing up, okay, just undo that, put a hose in here and suck it out. Now, I usually have the machine on standby, meaning I'll just leave it on the blank position. And that means nothing operates, you know. If you have it on F1, if you drive over this way, it'll activate and then it'll say stop and all that. So I would just leave it always like that. When you're ready to do a testing, press F1 and go for it. Okay, it's via Wi-Fi, so you can take that with you into the cabin and do it that way. When you have a large truck, you probably need a second person quickly to operate it for you. But that's about it. That's enough. So F1 starts the program. And you can see F1, she's up and running, okay? What I want you to do is now, roll nice and slowly on here. When you see the stop sign, bang, hit the brakes. Cool. Now it shows us the results. Okay? You can see it from your end. So you can see the difference between left and right wheel is 4%. The left wheel produced 7,300 Newton, the right wheel 7,590 Newton, and the overall deceleration is 82%. Perfect. On the bottom, it gives you a cross or a tick. The tick means I'm happy with the result. The cross means, I want to do it again. Okay? So we're going to click the tick, which is number 2. Okay. Now it gives us the option to say, okay, on this axle, do you want to do the handbrake or do you want to go to the next axle? Okay? There's no handbrake obviously on here for the moment, so we want to go to the next axle. So we press number 3 and that gets us to the next axle. Now do the same thing. You roll forward, when you see the stop sign, bang, hit the brakes hard. Very good. You can see we got a little bit more, we got 20% difference, but still well within the specifications. 47% deacceleration, therefore we can click the number 2 button. You don't want to test the handbrake? You might as well. To me, yes, you probably from a legal point of view, sometimes you don't, but why wouldn't you? Okay, it's so easy to do. So all I want you to do is press number 4 and you drive the truck back with the rear wheels past this weighbridge, go forward and pull the handbrake. You click number 2 again. Okay, go forward and pull the handbrake. Okay. You can see he drove a little bit past a bit, but it's fine. It activated and everything was okay. So again, you click number 2. Great. Now go to number 9, which finishes the test. It tells us already it passed from a legislative point of view. For 10 seconds, we show you the results. I can change that in the thing, but for 10 seconds, it just gives you overall the results. What we're looking for is green is good, red is no good. Okay? Now, we're going to enter an examiner number.
529.
And then we're going to go down to vehicle number.
Hang on 1 second.
I'm going to store those examiner numbers for you as well. Then you don't have to type them in anymore. Okay? Regional number, we'll type that in. If you type it in without a space, always type it in the same way. Because then it always puts it in the same folder. Okay, if you would do this truck again in 6 months' time, let's say, and you put it in with a space, it'll add another folder. Just keep that in mind. And that way, all the tests that you do for the next years to come, they're always in there. And you can always go back and say, well, last time it was fine, this time obviously, you know. So we go, okay, done. If you want to print it, click on F8, print test. Now, to retrieve the data, go into stored results. Okay, go into brake test. At this stage, it's a brake test. And you can scroll down with the, yeah. Okay, enter. Then you come over here to this side. Use that maybe for the moment. And in here then will be all the things stored. Yeah, so you can always go down, and here are your results again. What it's doing is it protects your business to say, on this day, at this time, I handed you a truck back or a vehicle back, everything was functional. Everything was fine. If something blows out tomorrow, a wheel cylinder or something, that can happen. Yeah, that's right. You know, but you protect your business to say, well, that is what we do. I recommend you fold it over into an A5 brochure. So it's saved like that. All your details are in here. Okay. I think I still have to enter your inspection station number. Yes. Give me that and I enter that as well. Okay. Yeah. And then you sign it and that's it. So when you go into stored results and open that up, that is a PDF file. Yeah, bring it up. Yeah, doesn't matter. Okay, open. And there it is. Okay, that is a PDF. I'll show you something else too, if you don't mind. Just go back out of there. And now go into Open Graph. Okay, and now click on Brake Graph. Okay, so now that shows you the braking graph. So the measurement is, the sensor measures 1200 times per second, the increase of force. This is a good tool for you sometimes to say, if both wheels start at the same time and then one drops off, then you can say, okay, well, obviously I lose pressure on that wheel. If one wheel comes in later than the other, it's usually out of adjustment. Or that's right, or the valve is stuck or whatever, you know. The more you use that, the more helpful this will become for you. You can see here, both wheels exactly at the same time started to brake. The rear wheels, a little bit different. Remember how we said? And you see here, if I just show you, this side here came in before this side. So this would be usually an adjustment problem.
So how do we cheat?
We don't.
We don't.
Simple as that.
That's good.
Okay, we don't.
Because on a roller you can cheat.
Yes, you can. This is the whole idea, is to make it as simple as, but the idea is to measure what happens to the truck or to the vehicle's braking system in an emergency situation when I need to really slam the brakes and go hard. That is what the plate tester measures. The roller tester measures more slowly increase in brake pressure. This one here measures bang, what happens in a fast application. Arguably, which one is more important? I'll leave that up to you to decide.
No, look, we've got to provide our customers with the satisfaction that their brakes are working correctly.
Exactly.
And they meet the RTO requirements. And that's
correct.
It.
If you need to slam the brakes, you know they all come in at the same time, they're working, they're achieving maximum pressure. That's what you need to know. Yeah? Let's do a drag test, okay? So what I'd like you to do is, Anthony, if you don't mind, press F2 for me. So that's how the machine is always on standby. Yeah. So now you do it yourself. So you go into the truck, you bring it back to the starting position, then you click F2, and then I want you to just roll nice and slowly across. Important is, when you go across the brake plate part of it, do not deaccelerate, because that will create drag. It doesn't matter as long as you don't accelerate, just put it in drive and just let it roll across. Yeah. Okay? And then once you go up to a certain speed, you probably put it in neutral and just let it roll across for the rest of the test. Even a wheel bearing, you know, that might be on its way out, anything like that. Okay?
F2, yeah.
And just go. There we go. See? Excellent one. Keep going. Keep going. That's it. No, that's fine. That's fine. It's just if you go back, then it creates axle 3 and so on. Yeah, so, and I'll store your examiner numbers in there so you don't have to type them in anymore. Yep. Go okay, and it passed. Okay, so that means there's no excessive drag on them. It's not an RMS or NHVR requirement anymore. Because I actually thought it's a fairly important test.
Yeah, because you're going to build up excessive heat if you do wheel drag.
Yeah, I thought it's a fairly, and now apparently we don't have to anymore, so there we go.
So, but let me look at,
That is 3.2 kilograms and 4.9 kilograms.
yeah,
So it is 1.5 kilo of rolling resistance.
yeah,
Okay, very, very, it sounds a lot, but actually there is no big drag on it, okay? 10 kilos on the back.
One side might be adjusted one click up more than the other.
Exactly, it could be things like that. It might be that you have a bit of toe in or toe out or something like that. They will also, anything like that sort of, that's how accurate the sensors measure. Don't get too hard into it because we're measuring so into such details. A little bit of free play here, a little bit of free play there is normal on a suspension. What they actually mean, okay? Yeah, very good. Now you want to do a scale test. Let's measure the weight of it, okay? So again, you can do that easily by yourself from the truck, okay? But we'll do it for you now. So you click it on F3 and then the scales are live. So now you put the front axle on it.
So can we do split weight left and right?
Yeah, of course.
We do individual corners?
Yeah,
So
100%. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked how the caravans are out. I mean, seriously.
No, we know.
I mean, it's not, this is just my opinion, okay? I'm not saying, but my opinion is a caravan sometimes, you actually should have different springs left to right.
Yeah.
800 kilos there, 935 kilos here. Close the door and see what happens. Okay, see, it changed.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, because that's, okay. Yeah, and now you do the same with the next axle. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and you see the rear axle opposite to the front. So it's actually this way, it's a little bit out, but again, yes. So what the weight bridge for you, what I also see is your toe ball weights.
Yeah.
Okay, so how I would do it, I would have the caravan on the tow vehicle, bring the tow vehicle in, drive the rear wheel on it, measure it, and then unhook it, and then measure it again.
Yeah.
And then you see exactly the difference, and whatever the requirements is, 250 kilos or
Drag the caravan and put it onto one of the plates.
Yes.
And just weigh it there.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But on a caravan, so if you want to know the total weight of the caravan, you would need to do the tow ball first.
Yes.
So you might have a couple of engine stands or something with a bar going across.
Yeah.
Measure the tow ball weight. Then roll it forward and then measure on a single axle trailer. Okay, keep that here and then measure the single axle, the axle on the back. And then you measured it over 3 points.
Yeah.
Make sense? To get an accurate weight, yeah? It's very important actually. What we found is, because we got new age caravans has got it, what we found is that if your tow ball height is not correct, that influences the weight dramatically over the axle. It's as simple, if the vehicle travels on a road like this, there is no weight on here, it's just gonna, it's one of the most dangerous ways of doing it, On the other hand, if it is too much like that, the same thing. So there is a given thing, and the manufacturers will tell you what it is. My personal experience is 100 to 150 kilos on the tow ball is actually the best. That's my personal experience. So if I now come over here and stand on here, okay, then I can see how much weight I put onto the tow ball exactly up there. So that could be good.
If I jump on the back.
Yeah, if you jump on the back, then it'll go up by. Yeah, well, it's different because this is like a pendulum effect, okay? So it's actually more. If you put 100 kilos there is more than 100 kilos going over the wheels. But yeah, that's why it is, okay? It's the leverage, and that's why it's like that. We try to make it as simple as possible, okay? Yeah, this is not a machine that you need weeks to learn. Seriously, this is, But like any machine, there will be a few things where it comes up, I wonder why it says this or something. Don't get frustrated too quickly, Now, important, we are always here to help. If you got a question, you got our numbers, ring us. Okay, because actually, that's the whole idea. We want to work with you guys, okay? And yes, we can now set it up for you that you can send the PDF to your computer there, attach it to your customer portal and send it to them. We can do all that. That's not a problem, okay? So yeah, I just want to explain that to you maybe. So if you got, let's say, a tri-axle trailer, okay? You do the first wheel, bang. If you want to do the handbrake, come back, do the handbrake, okay? Then don't, because it might be that you've rolled a little bit further forward than you wanted to it. Position the second wheel here, then go into number 3 for the next axle and do that axle. Always concentrate on the axle, then set up the next axle where it needs to be and then do the last axle, okay? Because that is how the machine knows and activates.
So do one axle at a time.
One axle at a time, like finish the axle and then go to the next axle. Yes, foot brake and handbrake. Finish that off, then go to the next axle. So you click number 2 again. Yep. Now, it's actually quite good. Next axle.
Next axle.
Okay, so press number 2. Yep. Bring it back. That's it, perfect. Now press number 3.
You won't pick up that axle as you go.
No. Yeah, and now do the next axle.
Yep.
Yep, very good. Okay, very good. Number 2. You want to do the handbrake?
The handbrake is draw number 4 now.
Number 4. Come back. That'll do. Number 2, go forward. It's fine, you know, you still achieve plenty of the acceleration. Number 2, number 9, and that's it. Done. All right, basically we just did a complete brake performance test. We did a rolling resistance drag test, and we did a weight bridge or a weight scale test on this truck. Complete duration probably within 3 minutes. Everything is done.